Hi, everyone. It's Sam from NATP. I am joined today by two exceptional guests. I'm really excited to have them here with me. We are talking about today our Foreign Tax Day coming up. We actually have two of them, but we are talking specifically about the 16th and the 30th coming up. If you haven't heard about it, we will be covering it more in detail. So today with me, I have Katrina and I have David. Can both of you just introduce yourselves for us and tell us why you're here with me?
Okay.
Sorry, Katrina, go first.
Katrina Haynes. I'm a CPA with over 20 years of experience. I specialize in U.S. expatriate and foreign national taxation. Currently, I'm the owner of Haynes and Associates, which is a firm that provides education and support to individuals in this area, as well as CPAs, EAs, tax attorneys, registered tax preparers, and any other tax practitioners that may have these issues with their clients from time to time.
Wonderful. And David?
Hi, I'm Dave Jarmusz, based in Chicago and Jacksonville. And my practice is handling multinational families, closely held businesses, and multinational companies. So that's the bulk of what I do.
Wonderful. Thank you both again for being here today. So like I said, we are here to talk a little bit about Foreign Tax Day, which was what we're calling it. But basically, it's a series of webinars that we're hosting with experts like yourselves about foreign tax issues that tax pros might not face all the time. These are a wide range of topics, but specifically, let's just kind of dive right in. So we're the sessions that are going to be on the 16th of September, so this month, income sourcing and tax treaties, taxation of U.S. expatriates, international students, dual status, non-residents, and ITINs, foreign retirement reporting, foreign earned income versus foreign tax credit for individuals. I know you are not both all teaching those, so that would be a lot to cover in a day. But why don't we start, and we can start with you, David. Why were you interested in teaching, this topic, and particularly your session topic?
My session topic is dealing with students, international students who come to the U.S. Now, a lot of people don't realize is that's big business. That's one of the U.S.'s largest exports, to the tune of $48 billion a year in services provided to these foreign individuals who come to the U.S. to learn. So it's big business. Now, it's suffered under the last president because of the immigration and the strict rules of people getting in and people being discouraged. But now they are reinventing that and expanding the whole program. So we're expecting a huge influx of international students coming in. And the good thing about international students is they can be anywhere. Okay, you can be a practitioner, and I'll use the examples I see in Champaign, Illinois, okay, downstate Illinois. You're thinking, who's going to get any international tax down there? Well, there's a lot of many international students in Chicago, specifically Champaign, downstate, that local practitioners are handling. So you may see this anywhere in the United States. So I thought this was just a great topic to hit because it's growing, and you may run into this situation.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a great point. I'm thinking too. Here, I'm in Wisconsin. We have the Wisconsin Dells, which is a huge place for a lot of foreign students to come and work, especially during the summers and whatnot. So, Katrina, why don't you? Same question. So, why were you interested in teaching on this subject, and then specifically your session or sessions?
Thank you. So I am teaching on the U.S. Taxation of expatriates, which is it's a fundamentals course. So I think that it's really important, especially even if you are a practitioner that has had experience in this space, to kind of go back and understand why we have to treat this population separately. So there are a lot of different rules, and I don't want to call them traps, but there's a lot of different intricacies of this part of the Internal Revenue Code that a lot of U.S. tax practitioners aren't necessarily aware of. So just like I said, going back to basics, understanding what is required for individuals that are in this space, and then how we can help you, guide you at least in the right direction to understand where to go to look if you have questions about these topics.
Awesome. So, just a few things that you'll be covering, just a few basics, right? So it sounds like, there's a lot more to these subjects for both of you that meets the eye. So I guess why do tax pros need to know about your topic specifically, or in general, foreign tax issues? Either one of you can start.
I'll jump in there. Any tax practitioner needs to be well-rounded to be able to spot issues. I don't handle anyone in the construction industry, but I'll know it when I see it. I'll know it's an issue if someone touches upon that, and I'll contact someone, tax practitioner that deals with that. People who handle people in the United States may not realize that there are international issues when there really are. Is that person you're dealing with not a U.S. citizen? Are they married to a not a U.S. citizen? There's a lot of things. It's more of issue spotting, being able to know that there's an issue and pull somebody in. Or one of the things I always preach is, hey, you know what? If you're getting a lot of these, international is one of those areas where somebody says, I don't want to do this. Just give it to somebody else. I don't want to do a one-off. But you may be seeing these things recurringly. In example, my students, if you get one student, you may get another. It's a word of mouth. Maybe that'll be your subject matter expertise, because the world needs more international tax experts. So by all means, grab onto it. And once people find out you like that topic, you're going to get a lot of work.
And anything from you to add, Katrina? Why do tax pros need to know about your topic specifically, or in general, foreign tax?
I agree with David 100%. You just don't know where your practice is going to take you. What I see a lot of is people who have served an entire family for X number of years, and then someone decides to move overseas, or they have a job opportunity, or
Sure.
You've been working with a family and you didn't realize that the husband was from the UK and has a pension and all these types of things. So it will allow you to continue to serve your clients well as they move through life. And what we've seen, especially with the pandemic, the last couple of years, I guess we can say, is people are moving around the world and working wherever they feel comfortable. So it's something that's becoming more and more common. And we as tax practitioners need to be ready to handle those types of issues that come up.
Yeah, and just to follow up with Katrina there, that's exactly right. You need to know what questions to ask. Mm-hmm. And the only way you're going to know what questions to ask is to expose yourself to this big, wide area of international tax. You don't have to be an expert in the areas, but you do have to know, ooh, that's going to be an issue. Yep. Let's give someone a call on that.
Exactly.
And so kind of, again, building off of that too. So this seems like a topic that there's a lot to know. It might seem overwhelming for someone who is just starting out in this, vast array of information. Do you, both of you, have any suggestions of how someone might get started in this, or like what the first steps would be? Obviously, attending education with NATP would be a great start. But anything else that you either of you took or found helpful in your career path?
I'll start this one.
Go right ahead.
I would say having a good network, because there are going to be issues that even if you've been doing this, I've been doing this for a long time, there are still issues and topics that I just will not handle from a compliance perspective. But I have a good network of people that I can work with. So people that are redesigning foreign estates or trusts, or people that are doing complex PFIC or controlled foreign corporation work. There are people within my network that I will kind of mine that stuff out to. So no one expects you to know everything. Well, your fellow tax practitioners don't expect you to know everything. But as David referred to earlier, you have to know what you don't know and then get the right resources in place so that you can still address the needs of your client and protect you and them by not making any mistakes that could come back to bite either one of you later.
Right. And I would say take as many, if you want to do this, take as many international courses as you can. Don't expect to remember everything, because no one remembers everything in a course. Just write it down and start letting people know, like in your network that Katrina mentioned, that you're doing international work. and see what comes in. And you'll see a recurring pattern of things over and over again, whether it's international students, whether it's FBARs, whether it's expatriates. You'll get in one of those affinity groups outside of tax and say, hey, speak to so-and-so. They know how to handle this stuff. So start doing it, follow the flow, see what recurring type of engagements you get, and just go for it.
And we touched briefly on COVID, but it seems like we can't talk about anything without referencing it anymore, just because it's had an impact on everything. So has the pandemic had any impacts on either of the topics that you're teaching? And if so, well, how and why?
For the students, it has, because there's been so much fewer students in the U.S., not only for the politics that I mentioned, but also from COVID. There are people trapped here, but for the most part, there's a lot of people who can't get here or don't want to come here because of our situation here. So yeah, it has had a definite impact, but hopefully once things start quieting down, the flow of students back into the U.S. will return.
I agree with David. Just the general rules relating to the foreign earned income exclusion and things like that for people that were trapped in the United States were impacted by COVID. But it's still, we'll see how it falls out. And just basics, people filing their tax returns and not getting their refunds or not being able to get through to the Internal Revenue Service. So all of that has been impacted as a result of the pandemic. So fingers crossed that we can get this, at least get things back semi to normal before we go into the 2021 tax filing season, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Which is right around the corner, it seems.
Yes, it is.
Wild. And so this next question I have is, obviously don't name specifics or anything, but can either of you think of, an example of a complicated return that you had, or a situation where education that you're teaching was helpful, or I guess really a specific circumstance where that you can think of that maybe was a little bit more difficult? If not, that's okay too. There's probably a lot.
There's so many. I'll mention one. This isn't specifically related to the topic I'm teaching, but it was the estate of a client who had passed away, and her children were curious because the U.S. was trying to assess an estate tax. And she left the U.S. when she was 18 years old, but she never expatriated. She never surrendered her citizenship. And it became very complicated because we had delinquent foreign bank accounts, we had delinquent tax returns, and then we've got this estate issue trapped in it. And she didn't, she had passed away, but her family had gone through several different accountants just trying to find someone to assist. And it ended up being me at a previous firm and an attorney that I'm professionally close with, to go back and expatriate her back to when she was 18 years old so that we could kind of free her from some of those requirements. But I would have never been able to do that without knowing what happened, what went wrong, and then, at least having enough passable knowledge to be able to get the team together so that we could fix it.
Yeah, and I'll agree with Katrina there. A lot of the toughest ones I've had are retroactive stuff, which is not as fun as the proactive stuff. So, you'll be dealing with a client that you've had the last bunch of years, and this is my example, where suddenly they tell me, oh, by the way, I'm getting distributions from a foreign trust. I'm like, how long have you been getting distributions from a foreign trust? Those need to be reported. And they've been taking them without telling me. And just the effort. And if there's one thing the IRS dislikes, it's people getting distributions from foreign trusts, which are immensely complicated. So now we had to do a lot of detective work and going back, and we had to pull in law firms from London to help these, go back and compute things for us and look at the legal terms of things. It was tough. And I think what I learned from that one is to actually sit down with a client and ask them these questions, because they don't fill out organizers. If it's in the engagement letter, a lot of times they don't even read that. They just sign it. You've got to interview them and say, hey, do you have this? Do you have that? And that's where this well-rounded education comes in. And I'm no expert at going back and recomputing basis for foreign trusts. But I was aware that had to be done, and I pulled in the right people to do it.
Yeah, I have a foreign trust issue right now that's I'm working with the law firm on to get it abated. So I co-sign with David 100%. It's nasty. It's very nasty. So
Man, that sounds like a headache just listening to what you were saying. Oh my goodness. Oh, gosh. So speaking of headaches, what is there anything else that you can think of that are difficulties or complications when it comes to foreign tax? There are different sets of regulations and whatnot, obviously, but is there anything else that you can think of that people use as an argument as to why not to get into this?
Well, I'll jump in there and say it's usually a world people avoid. They say, I don't want to get into this. And there's so many areas of tax that you say that. And I say that about some other areas as well, but you have to be aware of it. And if this is something you do want to do, just go into all these courses. NATP put together a good, well-rounded view of things here on the foreign tax days. Take them, be aware of them. Just don't flip out at all the details and the rules. Just like learning QBI and how that worked way back in 2017. You'll get it, and just be aware. Let it wash over you. And if you're aware of the topics, that it's an issue, it was a success for you. But don't be scared by the scope of international tax, because there's international tax areas which I don't practice in. It's just like anything else. I avoid certain areas of international tax as well. So don't be scared by the list of things that are out there.
I agree. I would also say that, and to David's point, NATP has put together an amazing and very thorough overview of foreign taxation, but it's going to be like a puzzle. Every single individual is going to come to you with a series of facts and circumstances that are not going to fit easily into what the ultimate tax filing is going to look like. So if if you don't enjoy that part of it, then this may not be for you. But I mean, to be fair, tax is like that, period. Every situation is going to have its own little nuances. So, and I think David mentioned this earlier as well. Don't get caught up in all the specifics. Just get enough of an overview so that you at least have some guidance to follow up, and just work with what you have. I would agree also that you're going to get some of the same types of issues over and over and over. And if you find an issue that you're not as comfortable with, having this kind of experience, having like a foreign tax day available for you will at least guide you on that right path, so that you can, even if you can't answer the questions, you can get to someone that can help you.
That was beautifully said. That's really all that I wanted to discuss with you two today, unless there was anything else you want to add from either, really about anything.
Let's hope we see you there.
Yeah, look forward to seeing everybody and looking forward to your questions.
Wonderful. Well, thank you again so much for joining me, both of you. I know you're swamped and tax season never really ends, but here we are. So just as a reminder for everyone, we do have two foreign tax days. One is more focusing on individual topics. That is September 16th. The second one is September 30th for business topics. These can all be taken on demand as well. So if you the times don't fit, we are offering them on demand, so you can take them when and where is convenient for you. Also, depending on your membership level, there are some that you could attend for free, which is an exciting little perk of NATP membership. Have to mention. And then the last thing too, anyone who's interested in taking all of these sessions, there is a discount for taking the bundle. So if you go to natptax.com and you search Foreign Tax Day to register, you can take $25 off the bundle. So you'll see that when you register on our website. But that's all I've got for you. Thank you both again so much for being here with me. I really appreciate it. And
Thanks,
we will see you on the 16th.
Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.